We are in 2024. 20 years ago, 24 years ago, in 2000, there was a situation when computer systems were supposed to be malfunctioning, usually called Y2K bug, where computer systems, infrastructures, was supposed to be down because there was a bug in the system. That create problems, solutions, but also make the whole humanity to start thinking, what if something happened? In similar situation, we're living in an interesting time when an emerging computing area called quantum computing promises us solutions, not only because there's a problem right now, but because we're anticipating something that may happen in humanity. This is the Hacker's Corner Adversarial Series edition. Hi everybody, welcome back to the Hacker's Corner. My name is Servín. I'm a professor here at El Paso Community College. I teach computing classes, including computer science, cybersecurity, recently AI, and we're very happy to have you here in the Hacker's Corner. Thank you so much for joining us to the EPCC TV channel, where we have all this repository of great shows, and I want to thank for your comments, for your great suggestions, for your emails, for actually asking us to bring more guests and invite talented people to come here in the Hacker's Corner and show us the new emerging computing areas. As you might know, we're running, EPCC is running the edition of Adversarial Thinking, the adversarial series for the border good, which have as an idea and as an objective is to infuse this adversarial thinking in different venues, not only in computer science, it can be in different areas, multidisciplinary areas, if you may, where allows students, graduates, and the workforce to recognize adversarial thinking in computing in general. And one of the things that we have spoke in the past is DEF CON. For example, we have part one when we invite our great friend Mark to tell us a little bit about what are the villages and what is in particular Quantum Village. And as a matter of fact, this is part two of this great show that we had in the past. So now we have the other member of Quantum Village, Victoria, and it is a great pleasure, and I'm very, very happy to have both of you in the Hacker's Corner, Victoria and Mark. Victoria and Mark, welcome.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I'm gonna let you guys talk a little bit about yourself because we have been discussing different aspects of DEF CON, of course, of quantum computing, quantum mechanics, Quantum Village. So we're putting things together in this plane. And we're living in very interesting time because you guys are doing great things for Quantum Village. So I'm gonna let you guys to introduce yourselves, tell me your role, and what are you doing in this great project that you guys have.
Thank you, Chris, and thanks for having us today. So I am Victoria. I'm one of the co-founders of Quantum Village. Quantum Village is also a 501c3 nonprofit. So beyond the realm of DEF CON, we do operate throughout the year. We push out a lot of things around open source publications that we can, building community events, and some quite fun projects as well, creative projects as well, not just looking at the computing side, but looking at how we can include other people. We've created things like a true type, so you can even create quantum circuits in a Word document. Really, we're here to show that, you know, there are no boundaries.
Thank you, Chris. This is a real pleasure to be back. My name is Mark C., better known possibly as Large Cardinal to some hackers out there. I am the CTO of Quantum Village, as well as co-founding it with Victoria. And I'm really trying to find a way to bring this new technology paradigm to some of the most brilliant technologists and thinkers and creative people in the world. I think that is hackers at DEF CON and the people that we encounter who don't necessarily have a PhD in quantum physics. We don't think they necessarily need one. And we're trying to get more and more people to just engage with the technology and explore it and discover something that is mind-blowing and totally new, and that really you could make a difference in today, tomorrow, or in the very near future. So we want people to get really excited about the events that we run and about the projects that we have.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for that introduction. And I like to refer to you as the quantum hackers there are, because you guys are been studying this work of quantum. We were talking about just before the recording why this quantum machine looks like a chandelier. I got no idea, but the whole mechanics and everything that you explained, Mark, is amazing. And if you are interested to remind yourself about the quantum computer, I want to invite you to go to this link, the interview with Mark about what is the quantum machine and whatnot. But let's come back to this conversation about the quantum village. And that is something that we discussed previously, that is one of those venues inside of this big venue called DEF CON that you guys, that's how I met you guys a couple of years ago in DEF CON, and which is the largest hacker convention in the world. Can you tell us a little bit about the vision, and I know you already talked about a little bit about the nonprofit, but just tell me about their vision and the objectives that Quantum Village have, and also what you plan to do this year in DEF CON.
Sure. Well, absolutely. I mean, riffing off the word engage, DEF CON itself, their theme this year is engage, and loosely, I think creatively, it's also Y2K. So moving that, what was very nice is that we've already been looking at what does Y2Q mean, as in Q Day. We even have quite fun stickers, so this is sort of shows you the
oh, that's so cool.
So that's even like a little cross stitch thing. So a lot of it is around getting hackers involved to help them explore what it is. It could be a lot of things around quantum computing is still very nascent. So that's sort of a reason even why to start a little bit early, is that, you know, instead of building in the bugs, why not figure out what the bugs are? A lot of the implementation around quantum computing is actually quite classical. So there's lots of ways for hackers to get involved. It's going to be our third year. We're still going to continue doing things like debates. That's one of the things that we're quite proud of that's been going quite well. We kind of shy away from things like panels because sometimes it can feel like a sort of colleague water cooler moment where everyone's in violent agreement, and whilst that's great, we're really trying to get more discourse. And we're also launching a zine, but I'll let Mark add in some details of this year as well.
So from the Y2Q perspective, we want people to really understand, you know, what this coming potential threat is. Like in a Y2K, it was kind of nice in a sense because we had a date, the 1st of January, year 2000. With Y2Q, we don't have a date. We don't know. It could be tomorrow. It could be in 10 years. If you ask the Cloud Security Alliance, it's April 14th, 2030. But that's a Sunday, so maybe it'll be the 15th. Who knows? So I think that, you know, we want to get people really engaged and really involved in understanding the technology, so quantum computing, but also quantum communications and cryptography, the networking side, quantum sensing, and quantum simulations as well. We also want people to think more about quantum society. Like we're big around, at DEF CON, we're big around privacy and understanding identity when it comes to regular technologies, what we call classical computing. But how does that change in the quantum sphere? And I don't think we have those answers. And I think the discussions we can start now will reverberate for a long time. So it's really an open invitation to come and take part and come and have your say and educate yourself about these potentially amazing, also potentially devastating consequences of quantum computing on cryptography. So we're really leading the way to help people learn what they need to learn to be able to answer the burning questions that they have.
This is fantastic. I think when professors or faculty, they attend to conferences, we're looking for professional development venues, and we go and read this paper about this new algorithm or the different quantum mechanics how to improve certain things. It seems to be that what you guys doing is, holistically speaking, is like how everything is connecting through society, awareness, the venue, the vision, also considering the work in classical computing, but also how it's been emerging. Because I remember, Mark and Victoria, when last year in the Quantum Village, there was a very nice set of events that they were continuing from highly technical, Quantum for All. There was that gentleman from Quantum for All, but there was also a musician about how was interpreting quantum sounds and quantum music. I mean, that was fantastic. It was, holistically speaking, it was all there. I cannot wait to go this year for Quantum Village, because you mentioned society, and there is also this aspect of society, ethics, professionalism that actually can bring into place when you deal with this new technology. I like what you guys said. In Y2K, there was a number, it was a date, be prepared. Here, we don't know. It can be anytime soon, but also at the same time, we don't have to think in the worst case scenario. We can also start thinking, what are the good things that we can do for these things? Can you tell a little bit more about that aspect that you mentioned?
So I think that the way in which we're trying to be ourselves and to be a little bit different about how we think about this is how we get people to engage with it. We don't just do a hackathon where we say, hey, here's a technology, do something, please. We're really much more about, hey, here's some challenges. We're going to challenge you. We're going to make you learn by giving you some challenges and giving you, sort of points when you solve it. And we have a capture the flag competition that really engages people who have never done quantum before. And we've had some hackers have come along and learned enough quantum that they are solving problems that have caused some physicists who are friends of mine to scratch their heads a little bit. And you mentioned you're writing papers, reading papers and engaging in that. We're also trying to look at different ways of doing even that, different ways of presenting it. Maybe we could talk about the zine, Victoria.
So one of the things you mentioned, Christian, was even having music there, and that is super, super important. Not everyone who attends, not everyone who engages needs to go off and change their life track and become a quantum computing engineer, or reskill in that sort of vein. But they need to find ways in which they can connect. We also, last year, we had someone doing an open source hardware module, and they 3D print it. And, I was able to get people I know who come to DEF CON, and, a lot of the quantum machine learning stuff may just go over their heads, and that's totally fine. But hey, come along at 3 p.m. We've got this guy 3D printing. You don't necessarily need to get the science bit, but I know you get this component. And I think that's where, as a community, bringing in these different skill sets, I think we all sort of almost help educate one another. And that's a really beautiful vibe for the village. And then hopefully, I think with the zine, that can be a nice culmination. We will have subsequent issues. I hear something could be space related, but that would be telling. But we're looking for people to contribute as well. We don't just want it to be ourselves parroting away. One of the examples I can also use is the quantum life sessions that we run, and that's sort of space where people can get up, talk about their concerns, and then you have physicists on hand, you have engineers on hand who can contribute, you have hackers on hand. So you have so many people with different skill sets that I think creates a really nice ecosystem that for anyone attending or anyone wanting to get in or contemplating coming should think about.
I should also mention we have a few potential special guests who we won't name yet, but we have some really amazing quantum hackers who are going to come and be present both IRL and virtually this year. So watch this space.
I can't wait, because DEF CON is one of my favorite conferences, but recently I just go and sit down at the Quantum Village and I won't move from here. I camp.
We love having you.
I recently just camp in your village, and so be it. But two things that I want to unpack, because Victoria, you mentioned about before creativity, right? How to be creative. And to be creative, everybody thinks, well, I'm creative, I'm not creative. And I don't believe that there is, if you're creative or not, there is a process of becoming more and more creative, and there you need this secret ingredient called engagement. And I think you guys are doing that thing into incorporating those different lenses into the village. For example, I'm a true believer that some problems that we're trying to solve in these disciplines might have a similar reduction into these disciplines. We just need to formulate what is what. Things in hard science can have a corresponding in engineering, some of the engineering can have in fine arts, and so on. We just need to put them together and they make a nice relation. Victoria?
No, absolutely. I mean, I think already you're seeing a burgeoning field if we just talk about the sort of core essence with Quantum Village and that intersection with cybersecurity. You've already got academia peering in and making probably a lot of headway. Actually, if you've already in as sort of a cybersecurity research in the last 10 years, you might actually be like, oh, we've done this approach before, we've used machine learning this way before, you know, you need to do this. And actually there's probably a lot of steps that some researchers could skip by attending or by talking to different groups of people, where actually that's well known, and that's actually part of thinking creatively is getting outside the lab, right, as well. It's not just staying in the lab. That's where you can get feedback, different perspectives. I definitely think anyone can be creative. I probably have the benefit from going to art school in the most classic sense. People all my life told me I was creative, and it's quite easy because I can draw something and they're like, wow, like, you know, whatever. But there's different forms of creativity, and I
Absolutely.
think hackers are probably the group in society that embody that the most, and it's really important in helping them as well to get recognition that they deserve, which I think is what's really beautiful about DEF CON, because you can actually see how a lot of the things that they do is world class, does really affect the in a great sense.
Well said. I mean, I 100% agree. John Kane, he was in our show as well, and he kind of brought this perspective of it because he has been there in DEF CON since DEF CON 5, and when he started to say, you know what, we identify something, and they were not cybersecurities per se back then. There were just people who know a lot of different things. It turns out that there is security involved. So when you put them things in context, beautiful thing happens. And when you put a lot of great people together, amazing thing happens together. So that is great things. Again, can our students, we are in a community college. Of course, we're students in 2-year college, which actually they're starting to get engaged in different computing emerging areas. Quantum, it turns out to be one of them because we have conversations on that. And there's more and more, every semester there's more, at least 1 or 2 more students every semester who are interested in quantum, because we're trying to infuse that in early stages. Okay, maybe we're not doing those high cryptography algorithms yet, but at least we recognize that there is something we can work at. And when you brought the aspect of music, that is also nice, just to have, it's not 0, it's not 1, it can be even both. So to have this idea of non-deterministic, for me, it's academically speaking, pedagogically speaking, is a great advance in the new generations. Now, you guys do a lot of other stuff. You guys travel around the world. I have seen that you guys do great conferences and great concerts. Can you tell us a little bit more about the work that you do outside? Part of the affiliated aspects that you contribute to the CV, to the Quantum Village QB, sorry. Which goes very well to your CV, by the way.
Do you want to talk about collaborative?
Absolutely. I mean, last year we were flown over to Greece, which is a wonderful location to collaborate with the European Space Agency. And we chaired a workshop on the quantum internet and really looking at the different angles from academia to what's being tested in the lab and then what's already being commercialized. So it was a very nice flow. And it was also quite interesting because you've got hackers interacting with scientists who are civilian scientists who don't think adversarially naturally. I mean, why should they necessarily? And we were talking about, the risks coming, I guess, the next frontier in space, in the security around space, and then all the great technologies that are being commercialized now. That's a really nice thing to do, to interact with different groups, because they have very different perspectives, and so do we. And having that knowledge exchange is where things get more interesting.
So we've also presented a paper at a quantum music conference in Berlin last year. We flew over and we turned up and we had these amazing conversations and on-the-spot performances at a really creative city. I used to work in Berlin. It's such an amazing, bubbling vibe of a city. And we were able to take part in bringing a really different view, the quantum view, to this aspect of creativity that is music. My background is as a violinist, and so thinking about how we can make quantum instruments and quantum synthesizers. And when you say that, you could just see people's eyes open up, like, wow, this sounds like an incredible universe of probability, possibility. So yeah, we're also looking at how we can engage quantum tech into the creative arts as a really good lens through which you can see ways that you could apply quantum technologies elsewhere as well. Because when you're playing with something in art, you get a really good sense about what something is. So that's another expedition that we have.
And you developed this quantum synthesizer that we can see here in the screen. You basically programmed, you built it, Mark.
Yes, I built it with a view to just seeing what you could do. So we in our first quantum village, we released the micro simulator, which is a quantum simulator that operates on a microchip. So really, really small, as a way of showing like how to do efficient quantum simulations. It's something we're looking at doing even more with and adding even more qubits in the future. And so this was a way of experimenting with how do we apply this test harness, such as it is, to something a little bit different. And so we pushed a quantum simulator into a synthesizer, and we were able to create some really wild and wacky sounds. So this was a really great fun to do. And it's all open source. You can go and you can download it. We also made a plugin for those of you who have a Korg Minilogue or a little Korg synthesizer set, where you can do the plugins. We've written it there that you can just import it. And we've got a few of those now. So we're going to keep updating it because we think it's fun and we think people are having fun making crazy quantum music. So we're going to keep doing it. We think that it's a really great way of engaging people.
I agree, and this is what Victoria was aiming to say: engage, right? Engage, and I think that's the main key word that we all need to understand. Like, how can you start engaging from all different ages, all different fields, all different areas? We are trying to pursue something new in this technology. This is great, and it's been a pleasure. Now, we have spoke about more collaboration, so I really hope this is not, I'm pretty sure this is not the end of our conversations here. We're gonna have more to come. We will be in DEF CON this year. How can people reach out to you, or how can actually if they want to participate either as a volunteer or submit a paper or maybe something that can contribute to the village?
We are on Twitter, X, it's quantum_village. If someone wants to shoot us an email, maybe I'm going to regret this, but it's hello@quantumvillage.org. We're quite a small team, so if we don't get back too soon, don't take it personally, but we will get there. And we really encourage people to get involved, or start their own little initiatives, test things out.
We also have a fun Discord that's quite active. So we're building a community online and in person, and we're really excited to think that people might want to come and show us what they've been up to. Just the crazy, hacky sort of garage or basement sort of style quantum hacking, all the way through to amazing work from university labs. We've had it all, and we want to have even more.
And one thing is, there's more fun stuff. Like, for example, there is one particular paper. Guys, you want to talk about that one?
Absolutely. I mean, up until recently, a lot of the angles looking at, say, we want to call it quantum cybersecurity, has always been looking at the sort of negative sides, looking at breaking encryption, all the scary stuff, which we would sort of angle with red teaming. And we thought, okay, why not look at the good stuff, or look at the proactive things, say the blue teaming, if you will. And we sort of termed it quantum blue teaming, and we put out a paper about, I think, around 2 years ago now, looking at kill chains, and actually that's now getting picked up by for-profit quantum computing companies as a use case.
So yeah, we wrote this paper thinking, hey, let's try and show the other side, because all of the narrative, as Victoria said, is all about the threat. And so what are the benefits? So we wrote a paper about tackling kill chains through better patch management using a quantum computer. And one of the things that quantum computers are really good at solving, especially if you talk about adiabatic quantum computing, which people might have heard of, what we found is that there's lots of graph theory problems. So I'm a mathematician, so I did a little bit of graph theory for cybersecurity, and we found a way of putting it together and making it work. And we showed some nice trends, that there's the seed of a possible actual quantum advantage there. It's not quite there, doesn't quite work yet, but on real quantum hardware, we were able to show that there is actually something worth paying attention to. And so, as Victoria said, we invented quantum blue teaming because we thought this is a good way of balancing that narrative. And Classiq Technologies, based in Tel Aviv, recently put out a video where they were encouraging people to think about quantum cybersecurity. So they had a red team and a blue team section. And the red team section was Shor's algorithm. And the blue team section was Carney's algorithm, which is me. And Victoria found this video and said, "Is this you?" And I was like, "Yes." And they've done a great blog post and a really great sort of description of the paper. They've completely reworked it all and demonstrated that it is viable. So yeah, we're clearly making the right kind of impact on the community and trying to drive the narrative further.
And I think just angling off that, we hope that will set an example for others to also contribute and come up with ideas, and show that even if you're not perhaps a physicist, that doesn't mean you can't look at applications of quantum computing. If you are a hacker, if you are an engineer, you can already get familiar with things, because actually you might be the person who's discovering the advantages.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. And I think this is what is the beauty about Quantum Village. It's this way to put what is happening and how we put it together. And it is a great pleasure, guys, to have you in the Hackers Corner. I really appreciate your time, your effort, and your energy, and of course your patience that you've been waiting for this time. I know you have a very busy schedule, and of course, being in a different country, different time zone is definitely a challenge. Thank you so much for being in the show.
Thank you for having us.
Yes, thank you so much.
And I want to thank everybody who has been watching this entire beautiful episode. In case you have any questions, just let us know through the email, the information that you see right now in the screen. And please don't forget to go to the EPCC TV channel, where you can find all this inventory of different shows and episodes. Remember that we're running the edition of Adversarial Thinking for the Border Good, which help us to create this great content for all of you. And I want to thank you and thank the production as well from EPCC TV, who has been great developing these great episodes. My name is Christian Servín, and I will see you next time in another episode of the Hackers Corner. Meanwhile, happy coding, everyone.